Good evening. Ira Epstein with your metal market wrap-up. And this wrap-up is for Tuesday. We're at the 22nd of February 2022. And we're sitting here at 6 p.m. So you would think it's easy. Okay, Russia has declared two new countries, which is craziness. They break the Minsk Accord. They absolutely did it, and I write about it tonight. Putin said they've broken it. It never made sense to begin with. And gold's down. You heard me, down. The stock market getting a little recovery. And what I saw today in the market about after President Biden spoke, you did hear his speech. He was trying to be rough. He doesn't do a great job of it. I think he should have been, frankly, I think our sanctions were a slap on the hand. I don't think they had any bite, and I think that's what we have to do. We have to clobber Putin with something in order to let him know this doesn't go unabashed. He's got a game plan. He played it out in Crimea. He's rolling the same thing out. We are moving troops into NATO countries on his border. That was announced today. It's not enough. He's not going to those countries. He'd like to, but he's not going there. So what do you do with this? Well, I'll tell you got to be cautious. These markets will bite you like this. If you noticed last night when you were looking at the markets, at least I was, you saw that the stock market was down sharply. You go to bed, you wake up, and it was actually higher on the day. Then it was oscillating all over. This is not the simple, hey, there's a invasion taking place on the Ukrainian border, and the world is in trouble, and gold's going to go up, and the metal markets will respond, and the energies will go because that's going to be shut off. No. But I will tell you, part of it is true. Now, let me explain that. Wheat went up the limit today, 50 cents a bushel. That's almost a 10% increase. You don't get that very often in a wheat market because the market is scared that Putin has his eyes on going well into the Ukraine. And if that is the case, they're a major grain exporter, as is Russia. Nobody knows what will happen. That is also why you got up today, and in some of the cash markets, you got up near $100 a barrel in Brent, and you're still here in the futures near 97. So good things going there in terms of good being action, not good being the event that's causing it. When you take a look at gold, it is up. Today's first trading day of the week. We're up 0.4%, up for the week so far, $7.50. When you look at the action here, you can see that while it closed higher, nowhere near the high, backing off a little bit early on, the trend is one where you have higher lows and higher highs. So the trend is up. The bias is up because the market is sitting here over the 18-day average of closes. Now, another event's going to happen here. And what is about to happen is the 100-day average in green is going to get over the 200. It will then give you another idea that this is a very big bottom that gold has made. So the gold bears, forget about it, guys. Those are powerful numbers, and you get that going up like that. It can happen, but I don't see what's going to make it break through all that. And once you line it up with the short-term average for the first time, the 18 over the 100 and the 100 over the 200, that's an awful lot that the market is telling you. Is the market maybe overdone? You betcha. To stay over an upper Bollinger Band, you do that. I want the other side of that bet almost all the time. You will back off. That doesn't mean that the market can't grind higher against it and get up, but if you buy over it, you're hoping, oh, gee, I should have waited a little bit. The market pulled back. Oh, gee, I went home long. Why isn't it running on me? Where's my risk? And it makes you do that. You've got to learn how to play with Bollinger Bands if you're going to play with them at all. The next thing is momentum. And what this chart has done is it's embedded. Now, embedded occurs when the momentum oscillators lock in and get out of an overbought condition or an oversold one and convert to what I call locked in, a better word, embedded. It's when you get these numbers, and I won't count today Wednesday's action. It's when the numbers that make it up, they're called a K and a D line, are going sideways over 80 for several days in a row. That's more than two. And you have that whole setup. Now, what that means is on the pullbacks in the market, Traders will be looking at a key moving average, which I don't display here, to try to, I think, buy the market. They throw in the towel if the red line closes under 79 and they're looking for higher highs to continue in the market. That's what I teach. Doesn't mean I'm right. In the gold-silver ratio, a little bit of a change happening now. Now, I've got the April versus the March silver. I'm going to switch over tomorrow to the May silver, but I just wanted to show you this. You're starting to get where silver's getting a bit bullish here, and I've given you the May silver, so I am changing the months right now. This chart is overbought. Notice you can't count Wednesday. You know, I keep telling you that at night, and that's because we've been open now 1 hour. How do I know where the market's going to finish? But I know where Tuesday finished. Both numbers were over 80. They weren't over 80 the day before. I have an overbought market. In the key resistance, if you were a paid, the word is, I know you hate that word, a paid subscriber of mine, which means people that buy my research in the morning where I say, buy here, sell there, do this, and I explain the whole thing. I was screaming this morning at people, take your money off the table against the upper Bollinger Band and the 200-day moving average of closes, and I'll scream it again. That doesn't mean that you have to do it, but if you understand the Bollinger Band concept with that, that's a resistance point. We could wake up in the morning and this market, let me come back here, could be higher. It doesn't matter. What matters is that's the high percentage area, just the way it was the high percentage area here, the way it was the high percentage area there, that the market's going to run into resistance. I am not calling for a trend change. That's where I think the pros are taking money off the table. It's that simple. Then in the copper, are you dizzy from the battleground of the 18-day average of closes? I am. But the more it just keeps winding up there, the bigger an event happens. And that's because you've got to think of this as a spring inside of a pipe, and the pipe being these boundaries. And all you've done is you're just churning sideways. Now, some people will say, that's a top. Okay. It's still a big event going to happen from that spring. Some people say it's a bottom. Okay. Then the market will go up big. Same thing. This gives you the energy for a sustained move. It hasn't broken out one way or the other. In the platinum market, you are overbought. You are fighting at a resistance point of the upper Bollinger Band. You're not embedded. I think the pros are taking money off the table. Now, this will be the last day that I'm going to work with you on the March palladium. I'd rather switch over to the next contract month. Take a look what it did today. 2 days in a row of hitting the upper Bollinger Band. I think the pros are taking their money off the table. Another thing that I said to you all last week, markets that are definitively impacted by whatever Russia does, platinum, palladium, wheat, big export items, energy, big export items. Those items moved and moved sharply to the upside today if you were watching them. So things you have to watch. Then the dollar index. I was disappointed in the dollar index today. Let me think about this. We have more inflation at 7.5% in January than we've had in decades, right? We have basically an invasion taking place in an area of Europe that NATO could easily be dragged into. It affects us. The energy costs are going to affect us. Crude oil at $100 a barrel is taxing you every day. Okay, and the gold and the dollar can't rally on all that news. Markets that don't respond to really bullish news, I start to think to myself, maybe there's something else, and I think I have it. I think that something else is the market is looking already like this over its shoulder and saying, the Fed is going to show up in their meeting room. They're going to start raising interest rates. They're going to do so many of them, they're going to kill the economy. And with that, you start saying, well, maybe that's going to weigh on the dollar. I think, that doesn't mean I'm right. I think my thought process is there. We heard today that there was going to be 9 interest rate hikes. So that means every time that the Fed meets going into 2023, well into 2023, there's going to be an interest rate hike. I don't buy that. That doesn't mean I'm right, by the way. If inflation can't get tamed naturally and with the Fed help, 2 parts have to come together, then I'm so wrong, it's unbelievable. But then why isn't the gold running more? If that's happening, that much inflation, that does explain the weak dollar too. So you got to put all this together and try to come up with ideas, and that's what we do. Now, let me just bring this up to date for you. This is our futures trading kit. And inside of the kit, there's just so much information for you. Our charting software, our research. You're going to be able to play with this, by the way, in terms of understanding some of the courses. I put free courses in this, video courses, that will teach you pivot points, the Arun indicator. Then I have brochures that I created when Paul Volcker was our Fed chair, because nobody, including me, understood M1, M2, and M3, and then you had Bernanke and all these other people come in, and guess what? You probably don't understand it, but it is Fed talk. And you've got to learn what it means, because it's the velocity of money in different categories that moves through the economy, and it's important because Volcker, what did he have to do? He had to fight double-digit inflation, and where did interest rates go under him? You got to remember all these things. So you want to learn about this. How do you do it? Just go to our website, go to the free offers, and inside the free offers, you'll see everything you need there. Click for what you want. Enjoy. I'm Ira Epstein. You have a good night.